Hey guys, we're back. It is a first take deck tech. We're here. I've got my boy Max Klein again. Thank you so much for returning.
Nice to be back, Hamish. I really like to do these deck techs also.
Yeah.
So it's good for me too.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And so we're here with Rosetta, and we've got our lineup, and you guys battled it out about which heroes you wanted to take on. I don't know whether it was a proper battle, but we're here, and you have kindly taken on Verdance. Thorn of the Rose. This hero is a Earth Wizard with 40 health, which is something, well, it's all new. It's all, of course, new. But a wizard with 40 health, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
I think that's also a reason why I was immediately interested in her. We saw some cards early from her, which had life gain on it. And then we both know Wizard has Storm Striders. So there was, of course, some potential for the deck. And I still really like how she turned out.
Yeah.
Especially with the equipment and the late spoilers she got. So
yeah.
I was very hyped.
Yeah, absolutely. So her ability, if there are 8 or more Earth cards in your banish zone, Verdance gets, whenever you gain health during your turn, you may deal 1 arcane damage to any opposing target, and she has Essence of Earth, which means that she can put Earth cards into her hero. Now, her hero ability, this is something I will be asking Yorgos when he does Florian as well. How hard is it, to get that hero ability on? Because it is a blank hero text until that gets rolling, right?
So words, especially my deck, kind of reminds me of Bravo.
Right.
And Bravo also had blank hero text for most of his games. And it was only really important in the late game. And for the hero ability to turn it on, I think it depends how hard you try.
Right.
And for my deck, I don't try that hard.
Right.
Well, I try a little bit.
Yeah.
The game goes a little bit longer, but I think it's fine. It really depends how much life can you also play in Verdance, and that really changed how important the hero ability will be getting.
Sure. I've got one question, and obviously there is going to be life gain happening in this deck, right, for sure. So we'll touch on them as they come up. But is there a point where you actually think, oh man, when I was looking at this, I was thinking, do I want to gain life now when the hero ability isn't at its full, you know what I mean? You feel like you've got to use it when at its full cost. And maybe that's just me trying to maximize every card's potential. Or do you just think, you know what, it's fine. I'll just use the gain health and it doesn't matter.
So to avoid this problem, I try to play only the good life gain cards.
That's a good shout. The good ones.
Yeah, there's some cards like the Harvest Season, which I also have one of currently the inventory, or the Fertile Ground, which you can run, but then it becomes way more important to have the hero ability active and also to banish fast.
Yeah.
So with my deck, we will be gaining life, and it really doesn't matter that much if the hero ability is online or not. We just try to play a good game, and if it's online, cool.
Yeah.
If not, whatever.
All good. Let's go through some of this equipment, right? I think it's important to start off with. I'll just get there, right? Storm Striders. Right, let's just get this out of the way. Storm Striders is a wizard hero. How important is it?
Actually, in my first deck from Verdance, I did play the well-grounded because I was trying to get to the hero ability pretty fast. But I think Storm Striders is just so good, and the ability to get the opponent down to 4 life and then finish him in his turn, it's still worth a lot, I think.
Yeah.
And even though I don't have a staff that can be activated as an instant, I still think that Storm Striders is just a good thing to do.
Yeah, playing on your turn's always been strong. Or playing on your opponent's turn has always been a very strong mechanic, and just to have an ability to go, you look a bit weak.
Also the threat of it, so that the opponent has to respect it. And we can do some stuff to actually AMP also in the opponent's turn. So there are some possibilities in the deck.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm going to move over to go through the other ones, and I'll end on the Stonewall Gauntlet. But Bark Skin of the Millennium Tree. This card is pretty crazy, right? And there's a little thing I did notice as well, right? That it's Earth, and I know it sounds silly, right? It sounds silly, but it took me just like a couple of days to sort of click and go, oh, hang on, it's got temper. There's Earth written on this card. If I can decompose my equipment, which thematically is really cool, and it works. It counts as an Earth card. But anyway, when this defends, if there are 4 or more Earth cards in your banish zone, create an embodiment of Earth token temper 2, so you can block with this twice effectively and get that awesome embodiment of Earth token. How is this working for you with Verdance?
I think it's especially important because we are playing a wizard, and wizard normally doesn't have a lot of blocking equipment. I think there are some Verdance builds where you play Tunic and really use also the Tunic resource, but I think the Bark Skin is just too good in Verdance, and I see it like as a 2 block and then a 1 block, and the embodiment most of the time gains 1 or 2 extra value. So it's like 5 to 6 value, I would say. And as you said, you can also decompose it. That's if you have like a decompose card in your hand and you want to play it quickly, then you can choose to just block with it again for 1 value and then go and attack with the decompose or something like that.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Plus as well, embodiment of Earth gives you a +1 to your defense to your non-attack action cards. Something that, well, Wizard has quite a fair amount of.
I was actually also trying to increase the embodiment of Earth value a little bit. I've seen a lot of Verdance lists that run more physical attacks, and I try to only play the minimum possible of physical attacks to really get more embodiment value.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. How important do you think this card is for your Verdance deck? Pretty crucial?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
So just the blocking value when you need some blocking power and getting the Earth into the graveyard, it's a really good role player, I would say. I think it's almost as important as traverses for the Mystic Heroes, I would say.
Okay. So I mean, even if you wanted to come pick one up as well, I mean, it's just a great card to sort of mix in between Florian and Verdance, and if you're playing the Living Legend, heroes as well with Briar and Oldhim. I mean, Christ.
Don't tell me about Briar. I want to brew her so badly.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a very versatile card. So yeah, worth picking up. Now, all right, okay, Plume of the Evergrove. I actually was just sort of like thinking to myself, hey, this card's pretty, it's pretty good, right? Some good text on it. A bit costly. Comes out in Tales of Aria. And I was wondering, I wonder if someone will just throw this in their deck. And here it is. So what is this doing? Why is this in the deck?
With a card like this, it feels bad to put it into the deck.
Yeah.
Because when it got out, it was like the trash of the trash.
Yeah.
No one wants to play with it. And now you play with it, it's like... The thing is, if you take a look, we have almost half of the deck is Earth cards.
Right.
And then we also have some really good combo cards, which are Earth. So I think the ability is very useful to just get any card that you need in a certain situation for just a blue pitch. And we have blue pitch. So I think the versatility of this card is really good. But I could see running Crown of Providence in some matchups, maybe against Assassin or something like that.
Would you say that Plume of Evergrove is... I always like to sort of think of this as like, when you get the Ebb and Fold in a Chain and Shadow Runeblade hero, you sort of think, yeah, no, I would love that defense value, but there's so much like upside in the aggression with this. That's what I'm getting, those sort of vibes.
Yeah, I think especially in this deck, it's pretty important because you can get the Rampart growth with it back, and this is a wizard instant. Normally you can't get instant cards back with like cards like Remembrance or So Tomorrow.
Yeah. Crawl, blimey, yeah. If you manage to just get a Rampart growth off, play that, and then resolve it, then Plume of the Evergrove, bring that back, and then play it again, right? So you're just getting so much. Is that how it works? Is that...
Yeah, you can resolve it first completely and just get it back. But for me, the idea is just to stack a lot of combo pieces together and then resolve many of these together.
Sure. Is there ever? I kept thinking, mate, the only thing to play the recycle game is the just trying to grab felling of the crown again or plow under.
I could see maybe there's an urgency to get the felling of the crown or plow under. If you are under pressure against the aggro deck or something like that, or you want to keep the pressure up if you are ahead. So I think there are some situations where you also get the felling of the crown or the plow under. But I think most of the time it's the felling or the rampart, I would say.
Plus, as well, it's an F card, so once you're done with it, start decomposing, which is awesome. So, Stonewall Gauntlet. Stonewall Gauntlet.
I mean,
yeah. What's going on?
We can scroll a little bit to the bottom. I have a spicy one in the maybe, the hold focus, but I really couldn't bring myself to have this as a main board equipment. Otherwise, you wouldn't have let me on the channel ever again.
I mean,
but
I don't think
there's something to it. But
I think hold focus is. I don't think it's that. I mean, it's not. It's not a bad shout. I mean, it's not.
Yeah,
it has this Goliath. I know it's not the same as Goliath Gauntlet because you know what I mean. But there's something about it. Like Arcane is in a different field of physical damage, so it's very low key. I don't disagree with a hold focus. I mean, this is not my sort of
So the idea was to have it for the Surge and Hater types to buff it even more, and then have a strong Forked Lightning or get to the Surge effect of our disruptive spells like Mind Warp or Destructive Ether Tide.
Sure.
So that was the idea of it, but I'm not sure it's good enough, to be honest. I'm still testing, and that's why it's in the maybe, and I wanted to talk about it. But I think the Stonewall Gauntlet, most of the time it's a 2-block against Azalea, against the Brutes, and most of the heroes that are in the meta currently, I think. So it's a good card. The 2-block is still fine.
Yeah, no, yeah, 100%. That's it's just a good solid card, and your weapon of choice, which is usually a bit different. I usually go straight in for the weapon, but I somehow left this to last. The Sergeant Avatide. Wow, remember this card, everyone? Remember when we saw this card and we were like, jokes. This next.
Right.
Move on. Wow.
I think people would have never expected that Sergeant Avatide will be played over Waning Moon because, but the AMP mechanic really changed stuff, and I think the potential of the Sergeant Avatide is really interesting for me.
Yeah. It's it's a very it's like a weird way of saying amp. Like it's not amp, but it is.
Also, it's a little bit better than amp.
Yes.
So for cards like Forked Lightning, also amp would only affect one side of the damage.
But with this, because it just says the first card you play each turn with an arcane damage effect instead deals that much arcane damage plus X, where X is the damage dealt by Sergeant Avatide. So this is literally the only card that interacts with Fort Lightning's both Texas.
Yeah, I think so. Let me double check, but I'm pretty sure, yes.
If it doesn't, then this whole thing's fallen.
I mean, most of the time,
yeah,
the idea is just to pump up the Sergeant Avatide and then pump up another spell afterwards.
Yeah, it's a good pick. The cards sort of piggyback in the amp, isn't it? So you go, here's 20 amp somehow, right? And then I hit you with this, and then that's 20, and then that is now amped up to 20. So that's whether it's not Fort Lightning or not, you just piggybacking off 2 amps with this weapon.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
Well, increase the value.
Yeah, awesome. Right, well, that's your main equipment. Let's get stuck into the deck. So I think what we will do is go through the Earth cards. Is that fair? And
yes.
What I'll also start off with is just to go through the Earth attack action cards, because I suppose they are how they're decomposing. Or is there a different way that you would want to try it when you're constructing this?
So we have 9 Decompose cards currently.
Yeah.
So we have the Felling of the Crown,
Yeah.
the Plow Under, and the Rootbound Carapace.
The best
I
the
think,
best decompose cards.
yeah, I think these are the obvious ones, and I think most Earth decks should play these 9 always.
Yeah.
I think you could also play some more Earthbound Carapaces,
Oh,
or there are also
interesting.
some attacks that also work. So you could play the yellow Rootbound Carapaces as example.
Interesting. Okay.
So if you really want more a decompose effect.
What do you think the magic number? Have you managed to find the magic number of decomposed cards to the ratio, if that makes sense?
Not yet, 100%, but I'm switching one Rootbound Carapace in yellow in and out. So I'm currently between 9 and 10. So I
Okay.
usually want to decompose every second turn. So
Right.
that's the goal.
Okay. And is that the through the calculator? I can never pronounce what it's called. Is it like the odds are you with 10 cards in a 60 card deck that have decompose written on it that I should be able to get it every
I
other
mean, I
time.
didn't really use the calculators. In the beginning of a release, most of the time I have an idea. Then I try to do the best I can to fulfill this idea, and then I try to add good cards later on. As example, the Sync Belows got added just recently
Yeah,
because it's just too good to not play it.
sure.
But for the Decompose, it's more like a feeling for me. You Yeah, also the calculator is not always right. A
No, they're
good
not.
example is this mathematically speaking, 15 blues would be exactly 1/4
Yes.
to draw it like in every hand one.
Yeah.
But it's really not happening like that.
No, no, no.
So
I totally agree. As someone that plays a lot of Viscerai, and they got that calculator
yeah.
out, and you go, "Oh, I need this many blues," and then you go, "Oh, there's my broom blade hand." They're all red. Anyway, so let's just quickly go through. Felling of the Crown is 3 cost attacking for 4. If there are 4 more Earth cards in the banish zone, this gets +4. Decompose. When it attacks, you may banish 2 Earth cards with an attack action card and 2 Earth cards and an action card from your graveyard. If you do, each hero puts a card from their hand on the bottom of their deck. Just to save a bit of time, Plow Under's pretty much the same. +4 if there's Earth cards. Decompose. This is puts each hero puts a card from their arsenal to the bottom of their deck, and then Rootbound Carapaces is just straight up decompose. If you do, this gets +1 to its defense, so it's a 0 for 4. Now, how busted is Felling the Crown and Plow Under?
I mean, it's crazy that these trigger on attack, I think.
Yeah,
That's pretty damn strong. Especially if you compare these to the common Earth Decompose card, which also just blocks for 2. I assume for limited balancing,
yeah.
but it's like a very big difference between these and the common ones, I
Yeah.
think.
So when I looked at Plow Under, I don't know why, I just sort of read this all wrong. I've been like, oh, it's just a 2 for 4. And I didn't even bother. For some reason, I just skipped over the flipping decompose bit. I was like, oh, hang on. Yeah, you're just getting rid of this. This is how, what, I can't remember what We Make Best. I don't know if We Make Best coined it, but yeah, the command and compost, people
Yeah,
call
I also heard that one.
it. I like that. I mean, how impactful is this being attacking like Arsenal cards? Does it just feel great every time, even if they don't have an Arsenal card? Just throw it out.
It really depends, but I think what my deck is trying to do is kind of slow down the opponent,
Yeah,
and so I can set up my combo. The Plow Under. So to be fair, I assume that Enigma will be a very strong deck in the current next meta game.
right.
Yes,
Yeah,
and she has a little trick against my Plume of the Evergrowth. She can just pass over my Earth target. And so the plow under is actually a way to get the plow the pass over under the deck. So it has special roles also to fix some cases.
okay,
It's,
cool.
it's very specific, but
Fair enough. Right. So they're your Decompose cards. So let's go through some of the other Earth cards that you've got here. I'll just go through some ones that I think that are pretty straightforward. Autumn's Touch, blue. I mean, it's a
Block 3.
it blocks 3, yeah, and it's blue. There you go. It's the classic. Heartbeat of no, I tell you what, no, we'll go to Fruits of the Forest, right? This one seems like another super obvious Earth card that you just throw in. It's a blue, blocks for 2, but the most important thing is you discard this and gain 2 health.
Yeah, exactly. So you have a little bit more reach with the combo, and also it's stronger in the late game. But,
yeah, it's a very solid one. I don't know. We'll go Heartbeat of Candlehold. Verdance is specialization. I mean, yeah, 1 cost, split of 3, gain 1, gain 1, gain 1, go again. Like, I bet endgame. This feels.
yeah, these are just no-brainers, I think.
Yeah.
I really like that they do these cards as specializations, so they can really increase the power level of a hero with cards like this. Also seen with the Betsy specialization, it's like a good example where they just put Betsy specialization into the deck, into a Rosetta, and really increases the power level.
Yeah.
So it's pretty similar, I think.
Yeah. So is this this feels 100% second cycle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you draw it early, you can also block with it, but you try to pitch it for the second cycle. Yes.
Yeah. And then the Tome of Harvest. You got 2 copies of this. Cool card.
The Tome of Harvest is an interesting one. My first idea with it was to get rid of the bad Ponder cards. The Ether Arc also does Ponder for the damage it dealt. And before I also had the Swell Tidings in the deck, which also created a Ponder. But this was a weird one with the 2 cost. It really didn't work with the staff without Tunic. And now the reason Tome of Harvest is in there to help keep the Channel Millennium Tree out longer. So I get more cards into the pitch.
Yeah.
So I can pitch an Earth card for the Tome of Harvest and then pitch something for the staff, as example.
Yes.
And it also just helps me to get an Earth card to the graveyard, dig a little bit into the deck. So it's just, I think, a good card to do that. You could also play 3 of this, I think. So if you, as example, don't like one of the Fables, you can just add 1 more of the Tome of Harvest.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think what I will move on to is I will just discuss about these Fables. So the Heart of Findale, it seems so obvious. Like, it's so obvious.
I mean, you kind of have to put it into the deck. I think if you have a hero that has synergy with life gain, just put it in there.
How important though for this card is a bit expensive. Is it gonna be like is it gonna go so wrong if you don't have it?
I don't think so.
No,
it's just a typical inclusion. You can put it in there, but I really don't think it's that important.
Sure.
Especially against aggro heroes, the block value is really important. So I could actually see myself also boarding out the Heart of Yendal and the Will of Arcania if I play against an aggressive deck with 1 hit.
Yeah, I can see that. So I mean, you were talking about like boarding out the second copy of the Rootbound Carapace. So if you don't have Heart of Findale, I know it's not the same thing, but another 3 block Decompose is not bad, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Although it is yellow, so if you're trying to swap out a blue, I don't know, just another blue card of whatever. And then Will of Arcana. You got 2 Fables. This is a pretty.
I mean, I did call my deck AMP over 9000, so I kind of have to do everything.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
It is reasonable to get to that.
So, why did you want to put this Fabled in? Because if it amps, obviously it amps.
So I also want to have a little bit of fun, especially when new sets come out, and I want to test the Fables. I think it's worth to test all the Fables when they come out, because we've seen some really strong ones like the Library of Solana or the Eye of Ophidia.
Yeah.
And I think the Will of Arcania is fine. Like it probably depends on the exact meta, how good or bad it is. But currently I'm just testing it, but you can also easily cast this card for just another wizard card or another earth 3 block or
Yeah,
2 block.
no, that's fair enough. All right, okay, that's the two fables discussed. So let's go through. Oh, we've got the Channel Millennium Tree, of course. I mean, it's the this card seems like a bit of a it's the Channel Mount Heroic. It feels like.
Not quite, sadly, because it's only doing the AMP3 once. It would have been great if it does multiple times,
Yes, that's true.
but LSS was not kind enough.
No, well, I was going to say if you just have multiple amp threes though,
Yeah,
that just seems a bit cooked. Plus, as well as we discussed, Arcane is on a different plane. You
yeah,
can't actually block.
the deck would look a lot different if it has AMP3 for all the cards. You would play cards like Sonic Boom and Reverberate and Beta Player, whatever.
Crazy.
Snapback.
Anyway, so yeah, Channel Millennium Tree. How massively important is this card?
So this card becomes way stronger if the opponent has not that much Arcane Barrier.
Yeah,
So if you play against an aggressive deck who only presents Arcane Barrier 1, then it becomes pretty good. If the opponent has Arcane Barrier 3, I think you can block with it a lot of times. It's a Earth 3 block. But it's more so some cards are just meant to punish people who are too greedy.
got
I
ya,
think.
got ya. I mean, it's a Earth 3 block non-attack action card. I mean, it's ticking all the right boxes anyway, even if you choose to block. But yeah,
Yeah.
even if it seems like if you're not facing up against someone aggressive, playing that long game, setting up for that turn is kind of ideal, isn't it? So,
I mean, you can, of course, try it to also pitch one of these and then try to play it out before you want to do your combo turn. So I also like that it has go again, so you can play it if there's a window for it and if the opponent is not that aggressive, for example. So I'm mostly considering blocking if I'm getting attacked like crazy. Then I get all value of just blocking with it, then I'm fine with it.
yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Right. So that is, for I believe, most of your Earth cards in your main board. So let's go through
I
some.
think we
Oh no, yeah, we forgot about the most, the most
get the map.
important, the most one of the craziest, most important cards in there. I forgot about the meld ones. I go, they'll just look different. Let's start off with the life pulsing aether life. So one half says game one, the other half says deal for arcane damage to any target. It's an earth card that blocks with 3. Meld cards. What are you?
So for this one, I think I'm probably never going to play the live side, or
Okay.
very rarely. I think most of the time it's just a 3 block or the 1 cost after your staff sometimes.
Right.
But for this card, it's also very important that it's a 3 block non-attack action. So it can block actually for 4.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, that makes total sense. So, I mean, I was wondering about the whole life side of things, but I mean, a 1 cost for 1 health is a terrible rate, really, isn't it?
Yeah, the problem is the cost curve. So since we don't run Tunic currently, we usually want to pitch 1 card for the staff and then follow up with a 1 cost or 0 cost. So, and for Pulsing Ether, you would have to pay 2. So that's the problem with it. And spending a roll card and just for the life is also like not that good.
Right.
But it's still a very good card. And the flexibility of it. Maybe it comes up the live card.
Yeah, but most of the time it's a block 3, deal 4. Yeah, straightforward. And then I'm definitely just going to make sure. But the rampant growth life. This is.
That's an important one.
Yeah, I was going to say. I think that's it. No, it's not. This is the. This is the wild. What's it? The wildfire. This is like wizards. The Kano wildfire turn.
I'm actually happy that this card doesn't have a block value, so I can't block with it. That's a good thing.
No, you need to play this thing. Right, okay, so
Yeah,
it's a zero cost. That's the big thing.
yeah.
Zero cost wizard instant and an earth instant. So mailed one, so one half is life, and the other one is amp X, where X is the total number of health you've gained this turn. Yeah. Yeah.
There we got it. The big payoff of the deck. And this card also can pump up the Storm Strider's turns. So if you, as example, draw a Sigil of Solace and this Rampart Growth and have a 4-power spell, then you can Storm Striders for 8, just in response to anything.
That's something I didn't think too much about, but now you said it, I'm like, ooh.
So in the early and mid game, I usually want to keep a Rampant Growth or a Sigil of Solace in Arsenal,
Yeah.
or pitch the Rampant Growth, obviously, and wait for the other half. And when I draw the other half, then Sigil of Solace becomes like 6th value, and then it becomes pretty above rate, I think, just with these two cards.
Ooh. So I think that's genuinely pretty terrifying when you. But a lot of people are going down like, is this deck trying to do some huge big combo, or is it like this option where you go, I'm just going to do my thing and a combo will come about, or do I just extract some good value?
I think it's very similar to Icelander.
Yeah.
Also, how this deck is built. So we have some strong attacks, but most of the time we want to do some wizardy stuff. And the problem is you kind of need this combo to not get fatigued. Because
Yes.
since Wizards doesn't have a weapon that really has an attack value, some people can try to just Arcane Barrier all the time, the Wizards. And for these matchups, you kind of need the Rampart Growth and Healing Potions combination.
Got ya. Got ya. Got ya. We'll move over to the healing potion. So you've got this. This just feels very much like the Icelanders Amulet of Ice. You know, and you just keep laying it down, and you're like, oh
It's
no.
also one of these cards where I never expected to actually play this card
Yeah.
because I always thought it's too slow. It's just too slow, and you would rather play Sigil over it. But yeah, it's just a combo piece and the insurance to not get fatigued. And also against slower decks, you can do some very strong turns with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So 3 copies as well. We've gone all in. So if anyone who was sitting on these colorful healing potions way back when, during the Everfest meta, going, oh, finally!
I think the Healing Potion, Cold Foil, and the Plume of Evergrowth are already top sellers on the card market.
Doesn't surprise me at all. Doesn't surprise me at all. All right, cool. So that's what it's there for. Let's go through some of. I mean, Sigil Solace just seems incredibly obvious. They gain 3 health. Yeah, like you're saying, mixes up with some of these combos. That's awesome. Sink below, sink below. You know, it's a defense reaction. It's the top one.
Sink below is also good to sometimes get these combo pieces under the deck, and the opponent also don't see them. So with Rampart Grove, it's sometimes a little bit problematic since it doesn't have a block value and it's also only yellow pitch. You kind of want to pitch it first cycle if you don't want to combo. And so Sink Below also helps with that.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Let's go through some wizard cards. Let's start off with the blues. Let's just go with the pop the bubble deal. I have seen this, but you know when you haven't seen it for so long, you go, "What does this one do?" So deal 1, 0 cost, surge. If this deals more than 1 to a hero, destroy an aura permanent they control. All right, fair enough. It's zap that pops an aura with.
But it is actually a pretty strong one. And the wizard was struggling a long time to deal with Spectra auras. And this card really helps with that. And also against Runeblade, they have all these incantations. And even if it's just popping a rune chant, still 1 more value.
Yeah.
Or against Vincent, it can be even more than that.
That's very true. That's very true. That's a solid blue. We'll go for the Emeritus Scolding. We've got 2 copies of them. This feels like a great end game card.
Yeah, exactly. It's just there because sometimes you draw it in the end game, other times it's just a tree block.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's pretty straightforward. And then we've got the Destructive Aver's Dive. A card I think all of us put all our money on. This was going to be some sort of Runeblade Majestic, looking at the artwork. And then it turns out it's none of that. It's a wizard action. It's a zap.
it's a pretty strong sap,
Yeah.
if you say.
So Serge, if this deals more than 1, destroy a card in their arsenal. Oh, it's Command and Conquer. But yeah.
I mean, SS could have printed destroy all cards in their arsenal.
Yeah, all right. That's true.
Then it would be Command and Conquer.
Oh, that's true. Okay. That is true. But still, man, just being able to just go over and just destroy cards in Arsenal, very strong.
Yeah, so these are the premier targets and also a reason we run the challenge, the Millennium Tree.
Yeah.
So if we play against Aurora, as example, and we see, oh, she's just having Arcane Barrier 1 or 2, then we know we can play the channel out and just play this card and then get good enough value with it, even if it's few.
Yeah, no, that's very cool. And then Aether Arc, again, deal 1 arcane damage to each opposing hero. There's no surge on this, but if you just deal damage, create a ponder token for each hero dealt damage this way. Yeah?
Pretty strong one, also.
Yeah, I mean, just gaining ponder tokens is pretty good. Mind Warp! The card that we all turned around and said, this card's strong. This card's strong.
Yeah.
This is some strong text, but no one was running it still. But yeah, Serge, if this deals more than 2 damage to a hero, they shuffle their hand into their deck. Then they draw that many cards -1. It's crazy good. Yeah.
That's ugly. It reminds me of this Riptide trap, the bridge.
Yeah, it's but you got 3 copies of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how impactful has this card been playing through this?
It's also better against decks that don't have that much Arcane Barrier.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, you play against decks or decks that also have not that many blue cards. So if you know, Viscera is a good example. If they are a little bit greedy and only have like 18 blues, and then you AMP and then attack with a Mind Warp, even if they can prevent it, you know they have like the 3 red hand afterwards.
That's true.
And so they kind of have to decide. Maybe it's even worth it to let it hit them.
Oh, God. But yeah, this card seems pretty nuts. Pretty nuts.
I really like the flexibility of all these cards. So I couldn't really change my game plan depending on the opponent hero I play and also their equipment layout. I either play more proactive with the cards or more defensive.
Fair enough. And then we have talked about the pulsing aether, but the Fort's lightning. This seems like the combo ender, basically.
Yeah, that's a spicy one.
Yeah,
the new spicy one in the deck.
So
I'm currently testing it, but it's promising. So I think with this card you can start a combo way earlier than usually.
Right.
And it also fits kind of the cost curve because before I was running a lot of 4 power or 4 damage for 1 resource card to do it with 1 pitch. But I think the Fort Lighting is actually pretty good in this kind of deck. Okay. So I'm still trying it and see how it goes.
Sure. I mean, I can see why a lot of these, everything around this deck is going to work with the core thing. And we are going by you're sure that the Sergeant Aethertide does buff both ends of the Fort Lightning. So
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, you're pretty sure. I'm just going to say this, right, just in case, and I'm sure we're not wrong. But if we are, what would Fort Lightning be? Would it still be Fort Lightning?
If it's wrong, then it would probably be a red snapback.
A red snapback.
Or just Command and Conquer in the main board. Or like more sideboard cards.
Sure.
Probably.
Sure. But I mean, It's not right. I tell you what, it's the first time we've ever been through it. It should be fine. Should be fine. I'm just waiting for the comments to come out and go, no, it's wrong. Anyway, let's go over to the inventory. So you got Command and Conquer, as you were saying. This is just it's Command and Conquer. I've never seen a deck set without Command and Conquer.
Normally, when I build these decks myself, and when I also tested them, I don't put these cards in there. I try to stay away from these staples as long as possible. But since it's a deck tech for the people to play with it, I did include the card.
Okay.
I think it's just, as you said, just so good to not run it. And also, I think Azalea will become stronger again. And so it's a good card to deal with Azalea.
That is true. It is a very good card to deal with Azalea. But sometimes we do get a lot of people that are sort of jumping into Flesh and Blood for the first time, and Command and Conquer is a card that is on the higher end. Is there an alternative to Command and Conquer if someone can't purchase this?
I mean, you could. I think there are a lot of alternatives. Also for the Warmonger. So the Command and Conquer and the Warmonger are probably very expensive cards of the deck. I think if you cut the two phases and the Command and Conquer and the Warmonger, it will be a pretty reasonable deck for also beginning to purchase. Instead of the Command and Conquer, you could play more defensively with Fate Foreseen, or could just include another Wizard Arcane spell, or one of the Decompose cards. There are also the Earth form, which also creates an embodiment of Earth on hit. It's also pretty good, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm actually not that high on Command and Conquer anyways for this for the upcoming meta, because since the card draw got nerfed, a lot of people will start running Crown of Providence again because the balance of justice got worse now.
Yeah.
And if you play against the balance of justice, then Command and Conquer isn't that great.
No.
The good thing is, since we are a wizard, we can hope that they have a Cane Barrier in their hand slot.
Which something that you can just get the most out of your Command and Conquer for. Yeah, no,
that's better again.
Yeah, it's small margins, but it's worth. This is a card that it's worth toying around with. I can see that. We'll move over to Scar for a Scar. Oh, bro! I mean, you're trying to play the Icelander. What's Scar for a Scar's in? Now, if you have less health than your opposing hero, I mean, how often are you less health?
Enigma is just so good.
Yeah.
And especially when you get attacked with a mirror guy for 10, then you have most of the time less health than your opponent. So if you look at the sideboards, it's pretty straightforward that we want to target Enigma as much as possible and be good against Runeblade. Since Runeblade got a lot of new cards, we try to be best against these two decks.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So Scar for a Scar has been, trying to think how many, you got a 57 card deck. Is there anything like, is Scar for a, what is your if you're going for like something like Enigma, like I suppose people are going to go, well, what card's going to slot into where? Is there a matchups bit? No, there isn't. But would there be like a sort of idea?
So the Scar, so normally against Enigma, you need enough offensive pressure. Against Enigma, I would play the 3 Scar, 4 Scar, the 3 Summer's Fall, and the 3 Scour.
Yeah.
For that, I would probably cut the Sink Bellows and the Rootbound Carapace.
Sure. Okay.
So then you have those 60 cards in the deck.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And you just because we just need to just put on that offensive pressure, and I imagine the amount with the Felling of the Crown and Plough Under, you will get to your Decompose at some stage in the game, but you just need to. You can't give Enigma a minute.
I mean, you could also to still have enough Decompose cards. You could also do stuff like cutting the Fork Lightnings, because when Enigma has Ward on the board, then I don't think that Fork Lightning will be that good most of the time. So you could also, if you want to have enough Decompose cards, you could also cut like 1 Fork Lightning or 2 Fork Lightning, and maybe 1 Pausing Eater or something like that.
Sure.
Or 1 Mind Warp even.
Sure. Sure. So it's this is the first take, just having to play around. But the Scar, Summer's Fall, and the Scour is basically Enigma tech. Scour could also, I imagine, just be the Runeblade tech as well, just attacking auras.
Yeah, especially against Florian, I think Scour is very good. So they can't just sit back and create a lot of rune chance.
Yeah, just attacking it on both fronts. And Warmongers, I hate this card. I have not because I'm a Visceral fan or anything like that whatsoever, but this card, it's just a bit good, right?
It's kind of funny. When a wizard plays the Warmonger, so the Warmonger, I think the most flexible card because I don't think it's that great in Verdance. Yeah, I'm mostly a little bit afraid of Viserai and Verdance, not Verdance,
Florian.
of Linset also. And yeah, Athalia is also pretty strong.
It's because they hold Reaping Blade, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. And then the Olivian Costellus. I mean, anyone that's just it's the wizard robe. It's the wizard matchup. Get or Rune Blades. Secret wizards. But what you know what I mean? Anyone that's throwing Arcane at you, I take it this card's going in.
Yeah. Especially against Runeblade, and you could also see this card in some other slower matchups when you play, as example, against a Decimator Bolton or a Tree Frog Dash. Then you can also play this card and shoot yourself with the blue spells, the Ether Arc or Destructive Ether Tide or something like that.
Yeah.
And then prevent the damage, so you get counters on it, and then you have a stronger combo turn.
I see. So instead of it just going out, it's basically, it's a card. You're basically going, I'll play this, going against myself, and then you've got effectively a 5 or 6 card hand with this in. Because
you don't have to pitch for the staff then. So the Icelanders were also doing it a lot in the days. And I even judged ProQuest once in my store. And there was an Icelander mirror where both players
just shooting himself.
tried to forget their frostbite triggers, so the other person couldn't pitch for it. And I actually had a discussion with that, and he told me, it was ruled in Worlds also like this. And it was a pretty big discussion because they were missing the triggers on purpose, both. And we were not sure, do we want to allow it or not?
No, that's
it's
good. That is interesting. Another topic for another time. But yeah, Leaving Castellus, awesome card. And then you got one copy of Harvest Season. So, what's this one copy? What's this one copy doing?
Yeah, so I'm trying to see if there's ways to increase my combo potential or make the combo more consistent without healing potions and stuff like that. So especially if I play more 2-cost cards, I think the Harvest Season actually fits very well. So you can play it before Command and Conquer or before Summer's Fall, as example.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. And then you got your one copy of the Crown of Providence in there, in case you don't want to use the Plume of the Evergrowth. When would you actually swap the Crown of Providence in?
So first thought is Assassin.
Yeah.
When they attack you with Leave No Witness and you have a combo piece in Arsenal which you really want to protect, then you can crown it away. I'm not sure about the Guardians, how they and what other decks evolve with Arsenal hate. So especially the Command and Conquer with Pummel is the most important one for the Crown of Providence.
Yeah, no, makes total sense. And you got a couple of maybe cards in here as well, which I've seen you've said about the Tunic, if not the chess piece. I can see that. Hold Focus. I actually think that's still fairly...
Yeah, I'm still testing it, and I encourage people to also test it and let me know if it's good for you or not.
Yeah, no, 100%. Comment down below, or just give Max a comment on his Twitter, which will be linked also down below. Metacarpus nodes, okay, yeah.
Yeah, you could also have this to have another Arcane Barrier 1, especially if the format is a format where you need a Arcane Barrier 4.
Sure.
So Florian can as example, do also play the Millennium Tree
Yeah.
and then use the Scepter to
Yeah.
scoot for 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
So against stuff like that, a Cane Barrier 4 could be important.
Sure.
So we have to see.
Yeah. That makes sense. And then you've got your well grounded, something to test out as well. It's fine. Goliath Gauntlet, I can see that. What's the E strikes? Yeah, can see it.
Yeah, the E-Strike is mostly another thing that's just against Enigma. Enigma is really a big problem for slower decks.
Yeah.
And we have to see how much you need for that. And the Fertile Ground is also a card I'm interested in because 5 lives can become 5M, but the 2 cost makes it a little bit problematic. So that's also a card which becomes more playable if you have Tunic. With Tunic, you get access to a lot of other cards like Ether Flare, which is a 1 cost, and then you can Snapback also or play the Swell Tidings. So Tunic would change the deck a lot if you would decide to play Tunic.
Okay. No. That's, but worth just trying it out, testing it out, and seeing what you think. But yeah, I can see that a lot of the core mechanics of the deck is still there. But yeah, just a couple of tweaks and changes to some of the more bigger arcane attacks with Tunic. I can see that. Aetherize, boy, I did not think this card would ever rear its head in history.
Yeah, I don't think we need it yet, but if the meta becomes 50% combo Verdance, then you would play 3 of these to counter the Rampart growth of your opponent.
Right. Yes.
Or other stuff like that. So I want to keep it for the maybe cards. It's most of the time cards I want to keep in my mind so I can look at them if they become good or not.
Sure. Yeah. No, I can see that. And then the energy potions is just
Yeah,
energy potion.
it would also be good if I want to play a Fertile Ground or against slower decks where you really need an extra card,
Yeah.
where you don't want to pitch for the staff.
Got you. Got you. Right. Wow. This is a very, very cool Verdance deck that you can just get rolling with, really. And thank you so much for taking the time to sort of go through your first take opinion on Verdance. Is there anything you want to sort of close out on? Your closing thoughts with Verdance for one.
Always a pleasure, Hamish. Since I really love brewing, I really enjoy these deck decks, and I hope it's a good starting point for a lot of people, and people can maybe evolve this list even more, and that's what really motivates me when I also see that people have success with my lists, and
Well, you
it really
inspired Daniel to take your your
and he had a good run with it.
yeah, with Enigma. He went. He made a run for it, and yeah, no, it's and you do make some very really thought through deck tech. So yeah, but I'll just saying, is there any sort of closing sort of points on Verdance that you want to sort of end on, just to say, by the way, this hero is for this type of thinking player, or what is it? Is there anything you want to end on that?
I mean, I think Verdance has a lot of room to explore now, and I can't wait to see how this deck evolves. So there's some really crazy ways you can also build your Verdance deck with like a very beefy, big attack style deck with some buff cards and even pummel, where you
Yeah.
really go ham and try to also abuse the hero ability more. So I'm pretty interested to see what becomes the best Verdance deck. I mean, I hope it's like an arcane focused deck like mine, but yeah. Will be an interesting time, and the calling Lyon would also be interesting for me.
Absolutely.
Sadly, I can't attend, so I have to watch
Ah,
from home.
yeah, I'm with you there. And just any sort of final shout outs to any players from the Value Vampires?
Um, there are some, of course. I always get inspired from other people who are building the deck or working on the deck. Um, Yeah, it's not really a shout out for a specific person. Most of the time in the value vampires, a lot of people jump between the class channels. So on one day, 10 people are working on burdens and everyone is like spewing his ideas. And on the next day, everyone is like, oh, bonds and burdens, now Aurora's the best deck in the format. So it's more like that. So, but
Well,
I'm really happy with the team and I really enjoy being with the team, and yeah,
yeah.
they also have to deal with my crazy brews all the time. So I thank them for that.
Well, no, I thank you so much for your time. This is a really, really, really cool deck, and as someone that was also going to consider picking up Verdance as well, this is awesome. This has helped me sort of just get that starting going, just to sort of try something out, and that's what you guys should do too. So if you like this, just like and subscribe. Go give Max a follow on Twitter, and check out the other videos coming out in this series. Thank you, everyone. See you later.